Welcome to this explainer. If you rely on a CPAP machine for decent night's sleep, you already know it's not just some gadget, it's a lifeline. For years, two auto CPAP machines absolutely dominated the market and were the most commonly prescribed devices out there. I'm talking about the Philips DreamStation and the ResMed AirSense 10. Both offered automatic pressure adjustment, incredible comfort features, and therapy tracking. They were the undisputed heavyweights. But, well, the landscape has completely shifted, and making a choice today is radically different than it was just a few years ago. In this explainer, we're going to definitively break down these top two machines and show you exactly why one has become the clear recommendation for your daily therapy. Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll be covering the big recall reality, side-by-side feature comparison, the data and app debate, dealing with your provider, and finally, the final verdict. Keep in mind that while both of these were the standard for years, we're going to break down exactly which one you should trust today, step by step. Let's jump right in. First up, Section 1, the big recall reality, or as I like to call it, the elephant in the room. We absolutely have to start here because you just can't compare these machines in a vacuum anymore. The landscape changed overnight due to an FDA medical device recall that specifically affected the Philips DreamStation line. The quote we're looking at right now really hits the nail on the head. That one fact changes the entire buying decision way more than any comfort feature does. You can literally go look this up on the FDA's recalls database. This recall inherently tipped the scales. It completely changed how clinicians and patients view Philips devices. Because of those recall concerns, the ResMed AirSense 10 has remained the safer, much more practical, and more trusted option for most buyers today. Think about it. When you're dealing with a device you strap to your face to breathe through every single night, peace of mind isn't just a bonus, right? It's an absolute necessity. That one fact of the recall overrides almost any minor preference in design. Moving on to Section 2, side-by-side feature comparison, where we break down the hardware. Now that we've established the safety context, let's see how these devices actually stack up side-by-side in day-to-day functionality. When it comes to the physical machines, it's a really interesting contrast. The DreamStation is actually lighter and more compact, which historically made it a huge favorite for travelers. But the AirSense 10 counterbalances that slightly larger footprint with a massive perk, built-in humid air humidification. With the DreamStation, that's often just an optional add-on, which means extra parts to deal with. Also, largely because of the recall, DreamStation availability is pretty limited right now, while the AirSense 10 is widely used, accessible, and boasts incredible user familiarity. As for noise, they're practically identical, so that definitely shouldn't be your deciding factor. All right, let's jump into Section 3, the data and app debate, where specs meet reality. Let's transition into how you actually access your therapy reports, because tracking your sleep data is vital for knowing if your therapy is working. And this is where the comparison gets a fascinating layer of nuance. If you're a data nerd who loves checking your stats every morning, pay close attention here. On paper, the DreamStation's ecosystem sounds like a huge win. Historically, it offered stronger Bluetooth and slick app-based tracking on some of its models. The AirSense 10, specifically the newer card-to-cloud versions, leans much more heavily on traditional SD card data tracking. Now, better app support sounds great, right? But in real-world use, having a shiny app doesn't mean much if you can't get replacement parts or if the core device support is lacking. Most buyers end up caring vastly more about reliable device support and easier long-term ownership. And when it comes to a stable overall ownership experience, that heavily favors the AirSense 10 ecosystem. Next up, Section 4. Dealing with your provider or taking control of your purchase. Let's talk about the real world of acquiring one of these machines. If your durable medical equipment provider, your DME, happens to offer you both options, you need to know exactly how to manage that conversation effectively. You really have to be your own advocate here. Empower yourself by asking these 3 specific questions before you sign any paperwork or hand over your insurance details. Question 1. Which unit is newer? Question 2. What humidifier setup is included right out of the box? And question 3, how does service support work after purchase? Getting clear answers to these 3 questions matters far more than brand loyalty, and it definitely matters more than arguments you might read on online forums. You need to know that your DME will support the machine they are handing you for years to come. Now, I know some of you watching might not be buying your first machine. If you're currently an existing Philips owner facing this exact dilemma, you're probably wondering if you should make the leap. The short answer is yes. Switching is a highly reasonable decision. Because the recall completely changed how clinicians view the brand, ResMed has stayed the more trusted, stable recommendation. Just a heads up, if you do switch, you might struggle with the adjustment for the first few weeks, which is completely normal when changing CPAP machines, but the long-term peace of mind is absolutely worth it. When you're doing your own research, you'll quickly find the internet is full of extremely loud opinions. Honestly, just ignore them. People will fight endlessly over minor aesthetics or travel preferences. Skip all those debates and just focus on the basics: reliability, humidification, and ongoing support. By those three critical metrics, the AirSense 10 clearly has the edge. And that brings us to Section 5, the final verdict, making your clear choice. We've covered the history, the hardware, the software, and how to talk to your provider. Let's synthesize exactly what you should do next in your CPAP buying journey.
For fresh purchases, the decision simply isn't close anymore. The AirSense 10 is the clear winner for new buyers. It completely dominates on safety, availability, and long-term support. So where does that leave the DreamStation? Well, it strictly makes sense for current users who already own one, already tolerate it well, and just don't want to mess with their established routine. If you're buying today, remember the golden hierarchy of what actually affects your daily therapy. Focus on comfort first, support second, and data access third. Look at it in that order, and the right choice becomes incredibly obvious.
As you browse auto CPAP options, keep in mind that a lot of retailers offer 60-night trials and free shipping on orders over $100, giving you the chance to really test this equipment out in your own bedroom. So I want to leave you with this final thought to guide your journey to better sleep. When it comes to the machine literally keeping your airways open every single night, will you get distracted by minor comfort features, or will you prioritize long-term peace of mind? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and here's to a better, safer night's sleep.